apparently that there are there's groups of civil rights movements. I don't recall the names of these groups, so I apologize. But anywho, apparently they're planning a march or protest in front of the NFL's HQ in New York City.
You mean? I think the group is called the People for the Employment of Colin Kaepernick.
I guess. No, but I'll be honest. Okay. Okay. The problem that I have with this is the fact that, okay, these people have the right to do this. I'm not saying that Colin Kaepernick, like, many people don't understand that when it comes to the position, like, I believe anybody is entitled to their opinion. Colin Kaepernick is entitled to he is entitled to kneeling, standing, sitting. He's allowed to do that because he's an American citizen, and it's not like it's against the Constitution or any law that says you have to do that. Stand up, like,
it's actually for the Constitution.
Yeah, and like, but also people that want to call him out, they have the right to do that too. Yeah. But many people in this day and age are always on the extreme on both sides. Whether he's being blackballed, I can't believe the nerve of these slaveholding owners, or you have the people on the other side being like, oh my lord, this man, he's a communist, fascist, liberal that wants to like shove it in people's faces. Both sides are if you are on not either side of the spectrum per se, but if you're on both extremes, you're both retarded because you shouldn't have that kind of position. My position is he has the right to do what he wants. He's not employed because the guy is not a capable quarterback. And yes, people could be like, well, he produced pretty well. And, he's gone to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it was gone to a completely different head coach. Mm. And not only that, the thing is, Colin Kaepernick is not the quarterback he once was.
No. And
a lot of people don't understand that the reason he's not employed, yeah, sure, there's a bit of that factor of, he might be a distraction, but also his football abilities are not worth the cost.
He's definitely not going to be a starter.
Yeah, this guy's looking for starter level money and looking to be the starter of some football team. That is why he hasn't been picked up, because he is looking to become the starter of a team. And in this day and age, currently, there's no jobs for employment other than the Jets, which probably aren't going to sign him. The 49ers, they already cut him, so that's enough, and he opted out. The Browns, possibly, but
the Ravens.
At the end of the day, Colin Kaepernick is allowed to do whatever he wants to, but keep in mind, he's not employed because he wants starter level money and to be a starter of a team. Yeah. Not because he's being blackballed.
I actually taught a class today about the First Amendment, and I decided to use an article that I found kind of like a current event about Colin Kaepernick. My belief is this. He's being blackballed. It should be obvious that he's being blackballed because he's better than probably the bottom quarter of quarterbacks that are currently in this league. Like it is understandable that he could be a backup in this league. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I definitely think he's a capable backup.
But here's the thing. People believe that freedom of speech in this country is about I can say whatever I want with no consequence. That's not what freedom of speech is in this country.
Oh yeah.
The First Amendment protects citizens, and I guess non-citizens too, of not getting thrown in prison for what you say.
Yeah, exactly. So just as an example, if I come out on this podcast and say Donald Trump sucks, Donald Trump can't throw me in jail, or the government can't throw me in jail for having said opinion. Or if you think, I think Trump's my hero and savior. Yeah. What, you think Hillary Clinton's going to call the Russians to come and lock you up in jail? No, they can't do that.
Yeah.
That's the point of the First Amendment. It's a
thing where, he can kneel down But I, on the other hand, have the right to call him unpatriotic, un-American.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah,
I have the right to not want to sign him. Right? There's no law saying that you have to make him your quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know?
It's not like
you don't have
it's
to
not
employ him.
Yeah, there's not a law saying you must sign Colin Kaepernick or your team is being impounded.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I can understand why people are protesting. I just would never do it. You know.
Yeah, me personally, I'm in the situation where it's like, look, as an American citizen, I personally believe that. Listen, I am entitled. Well, I'm not entitled, but like the laws and rights that I have as an American citizen are laid out for me, and I will take full advantage of those rights. I mean, I'm studying political science right now, and I'm completely aware that like anybody on any side of the political spectrum, wherever you may be, has the right to voice their opinion. Yeah. However, do keep in mind that your free speech can be limited depending on the certain situation. Now, I could possibly disagree with the situation. Like, for example, like, you can't, like, when we were talking about, I was probably like a month ago when EDP got his channel taken down before he started making videos again.
Yeah.
Right? He is capable of expressing it, but you have to keep in mind that freedom of speech has its limits, especially on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, for example, we right now are expressing our opinions on this website. They're allowing us to do that.
Yeah.
But we had to adhere to their rules and regulations.
Exactly.
And it's not like I could be like, well, this is unconstitutional. Well, number one, this is the internet, so there is no law saying that YouTube has to adhere by certain things. Yeah. They're allowed to make whatever rules they want.
YouTube can make whatever rules they want, and they can take you down whenever they want. I mean, they
yes.
Unless you can find a way that makes it so that you've been falsely taken down. But at that point in time, you're not even dealing with a bureaucracy of people next to telephones. You're dealing with an automated internet service that you're never going to talk to an actual person.
Exactly.
So there's no point. If you have like 40 subscribers and you get taken off of YouTube, well, I mean, if you didn't do anything wrong, then that's bad, but no one's going to do anything about it. No one's really going to care.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, look, listen, these people, everyone on this website has the right to express themselves because YouTube provides you that option to express yourself. We have Google Hangout. I know this is relatively new in terms of internet. Anywho, basically, us on a Google Hangout podcast talking right now is YouTube, us having that right to express yourselves on the website, but we exchange that for adhering to certain guidelines, which YouTube is allowed to do. I mean, it's like, but however, if we're talking about the real world, for example, if I was hired at a Rite Aid, or if you were hired at a Rite Aid, for example, or they wouldn't hire you because you're Jewish or you're Christian or Islamic or you're black, white. I know the race part gets a bit, that's a completely different thing. But when it comes to expressing yourself as a human being, that is unconstitutional.
Yeah, and like I just think that. Even though I don't really care that much about the situation anymore because it's so drawn out, and it's just like and everyone has something to say about it. I do, however, think that this sets a really poor precedent when it comes to okay, you're allowed to say whatever you want, but you shouldn't because you might be looked down upon, I was actually teaching the class, and at first I was like, why do you think that Colin Kaepernick is not being signed? And this kid in the back was like, because he's garbage. And I was like, well, you can say that. But then another kid said, well, if you don't say what's on your mind, then you're a coward.
I gotta say this because this point was brought up. I know it's on ESPN First Take, but this was actually a pretty good point that I never thought about until recently. The NFL is like, if you look at a quote unquote political agenda, or a way that players can express themselves politically or whatever. The NBA is more progressive because they're international. Soccer, same thing. It's international for the most part. Football is generally a more conservative type of environment because it's just in America.
Yeah.
If football was an international sport, having
fuck yeah.
But yeah, like that's a point that I didn't really think about until recently. In that, you got to keep in mind that the NFL has been secluded inside the United States. Yeah, sure, people watch it across the globe, but in terms of the integration of players, it's mostly American or Canadian types, mostly American, in fact, that play the sport.
I mean, what other sport do you know where at the end of the game, certain players get into a circle and have a little prayer circle? What other sport do you know that they do that?
Outside of football, I mean, maybe
football, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know about what is it? Basketball. Maybe I don't know about basketball, but for the most part, I only think football is that only,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but okay,
that's an interesting point that you made, and I think that it's very valid in terms of,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Point well taken.